What's up, YouTube? My name is André and I'll be reacting to 13 things about the USA I can't live without anymore. This should be an interesting one since I know she is actually from Germany. But before I go into the video, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much for that. It's the best way to show support. If you like this type of content, consider to subscribe and trust me, you make my day if you do that. Now, English, not my main language, any mispronunciations, I'm sorry for that, and I'll leave the link for the original video on my description. Let's play it and see what this is about. If I had to make one or two predictions, I would say probably food and probably nature, because you guys have such great food and such beautiful country to be honest, but let's see it.
It's been 5 years of me living in the US, so what do I really think of this country after all this time?
It's a beautiful country, I would bet, and it's an amazing one.
Hallo, Servus.
Actually, I will say one thing. I was realizing this the other day. The people that complain the most about the US are actually people living in the US, which I don't understand, because every time you see people that went from Europe to there or Asia, most of the time they appreciate what you guys have there. I think that's something to think about.
And welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, and 5 years ago today,
I visited Germany one time, Munich, and beautiful city.
is when I arrived in the US for my first long-term stay here. I had been to the US for a 2-week-long high school exchange and for vacation before, but I had never actually lived here. Until August 13th, 2016, when I got on a plane from Munich to Paris and then from Paris to Cincinnati to start my exchange semester at the University of Cincinnati. And what was supposed to be just a 5-month-long stay turned into me coming back over and over again on different visas until I received my green card in September 2019. If you want to learn more about me winning the green card lottery, I'm gonna link the videos about that down below and also up here. Since that day...
Okay, probably this is a too complex question to ask right away. But let's say I want to move to America. What do I have to do to actually become an American resident? Or is that even no, possible? It is 100%, but I mean, if I find a job, and I mean, I have to find a job probably, but that will be the pet, you know, my employer, I don't know, I'm guessing.
Say 5 years ago, I haven't been in the US permanently. I spent a little over a year in Germany during that time too, but I still consider this my 5-year US anniversary, and I think this is a great occasion for a recap. Which is why I want to share 13 things, since today is August 13th, about the US with you that I don't want to live without anymore after living here for 5 years. I also made a list of things that I still can't get used to here in the US after all this time, which might be an even more interesting topic even, but I figured it would sound a little snooty to celebrate this anniversary by basically listing all the complaints I have.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing the positive things with you guys today and then giving you the other side next week. Oh, and if you follow me on Instagram or watch my YouTube stories, you probably know that I'm actually in Germany at the time that you're watching this, but I'm recording this here in Cincinnati right now. Number one on my list of things about the US that I don't want to live without anymore is air conditioning. As you guys...
Okay, this makes sense. In at least in my country, but I believe in Europe, this is not that normal. We have ways to eat in the winter, but to make things, you know, to make things fresh, cold, we don't. I mean, there is people with a lot of money, they have all the systems you can imagine, but the regular guy most of the time does not have this. Of course, anyone can buy air condition, but it's not a thing that when you build a home, or at least it was not a thing 10, 20 years ago. So most of the houses right now, they don't have that.
know, it's pretty normal in the US to have air conditioning in buildings,
You guys
whether
are
that's
lucky.
stores, public buildings, or private homes. More modern buildings even have central air conditioning usually, where the air gets circulated through these air vents that you'll find in every room. Now, why is this so special? For those of you who don't know, in Europe and actually in most countries of the world, it's actually not standard to have air conditioning inside of buildings. Now, in one of my pretty early videos, I actually said that I wasn't a big fan of central AC, and many of you guys commented that I wouldn't say that if I lived in a hotter area. Now, first of all,
Okay, I'm actually not a big fan of central AC because, I don't know, I always, every time there is a central AC, I tend to get a problem on my throat. Yeah.
Cincinnati does get extremely hot and especially humid in the summer. This year it's been fluctuating a little bit more, but usually from about April to September, it's 80 to 90 degrees almost the whole time with a really high humidity, which often makes it pretty
That's not enjoyable.
hard to deal with. It'll get over 100 degrees a lot too.
Yikes. That's not, you need AC.
So like around 38 degrees Celsius. Now, of course, we also have cold.
Okay, I have a question. And if anyone disagrees with me, I will be disappointed. But do you guys prefer hot or cold? Because I prefer cold. Because with hot, a lot of times, yes, if you have air condition inside, you can do something. But with cold, most of the time, cold can actually, can actually be so cozy. I prefer cold.
Winters here, but it's
because I transform cold into hot, but I have a much bigger problem doing the opposite.
not like we don't deal with the heat here at all. If you look at the longitude, Cincinnati is about the same level as Ibiza in Spain or Sardinia in Italy. The reason why I said I didn't love central AC back then was because when living with other people or in public buildings like at a university, Americans often really overdo it with the AC. Instead of setting the temperature to a normal average room temperature inside that would already feel cold compared to the hot summer air outside, it often feels like an actual fridge inside. I'm not kidding.
Not good. If that's the case, not good.
People often set it to like 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, like around 63 degrees Fahrenheit, which to me is just as inconvenient.
That's cold. Yeah.
As the outdoor temperature. It's just the other extreme. Plus, you usually wear short summer clothes during that time, and it's pretty annoying to always basically have to carry a sweater with you in the middle of the summer because you'll need it when you go inside. So that was one reason why I said that back then. And then the other reason was that I find it kind of annoying that in a bigger house, when you live with your family or roommates, it's all regulated centrally. So you can't turn it up or down or even off just in your room or just in the living room. If the rest of the people want the AC on, you have to live with it. At most places you can usually close your vent in your room, but that doesn't usually make that big of a difference. I'd personally like it better if you could regulate the temperature individually in every room. I remember that 5 years ago when I came here on my exchange semester in August, I was sitting in my room doing homework or something, and I was wearing my warm winter clothes that I had brought for later on in the semester, and I was also wearing a scarf because I found it so cold inside. And I also got sick for like a few weeks straight right after I came here because the AC was so cold. But besides that, I think it's awesome that AC exists here because it helps a lot with the humidity.
If well tuned, it's good. I guess some of you guys go a bit too far, but it's a good thing, and you guys are likely to have that implemented.
And it's also just really...
But, okay, is this implemented in every house or most of the... Okay, when I say poor people, I don't mean homeless, by the way. I mean people that, okay, they are check by check, salary, they get the salary that they spend until they get another one. Those guys, do they have air conditioning?
Really nice to be in a restaurant.
Because big part of the population lives like that, I would assume.
Restaurant or even in a club with a dance floor and not have to sweat your ass off. In Germany, when it's hot everywhere usually. On the subway, in restaurants, at school, in the office. But here you don't...
This I have to disagree a bit. In Portugal, I don't think is that way. I mean, inside of your house can be really hot, but if you go to restaurants, they normally they tend to have air condition most of the time.
Usually have to worry about your legs sticking to a chair when sitting down in the summer, so that's
This is
pretty
not my
awesome.
experience.
Plus, ceiling fans are great too, so when I'm home in Germany...
Yo, this is something that I always thought you guys are genius to think about. This is not a thing in my country.
In the summer, when it's actually hot there for once, I actually do miss both my AC and my ceiling fans. Number
That's
2
crazy.
is customer service. I know that many Germans don't share this opinion, especially the ones who only know this from vacation to the US or from the media, but once you've gotten used to it, American customer service is pretty amazing. Whether it's at a store or a restaurant, overall, people working in customer service just treat you really, really nicely here. They'll be friendly, make small talk with you, and usually try to accommodate every request you might have, even if you're basically asking to create a
Because they want the tip.
whole new meal that isn't on the menu. In Germany, you'd probably just get an answer along the lines of, "That's not possible," not even a sorry in a lot of cases.
That's
Of course,
kind
this
of,
is an all
to be honest, Germany is, I mean, my idea of German people is that they are a bit cold, you know, in the sense that they yes and no and move on.
always the case, but overall this is a difference that really sticks out. And even though many Germans say that they prefer the direct and sometimes even unfriendly German customer service, I really haven't met anyone who says that after living here for a while. It definitely takes a little bit to get used to the American way, because as a German it might seem disingenuous at first, maybe even fake and over the top, but it's kind of like a cultural language that you'll have to learn how to speak and understand.
See, this, I will also, when I go to America, I know I will struggle with this, because if someone is too nice for me, I'm always like, okay, what do you want? You know, is even with this YouTube channel, and again, a real talk with you guys, is sometimes you guys leave me such amazing comments that I feel uncomfortable, to be honest. I'm already accepting that a bit more, but he's still saying, oh man, those guys are better humans than me. It is honestly what I think from time to time. But yeah.
Stand first, and
But when you are paying, you get even a bit more. What is going on?
I personally don't want to live without it anymore. I've had so many people working in customer service just make my day much better just by being friendly or exchanging some nice small talk. It can even make running errands a much more pleasant experience. I just recently told a story about when I had to get my Ohio driver's license renewed on the podcast. That was a perfect example of this too, so I'll just link that episode down below. Of course, I know that, especially in the food service industry, a lot of the good customer service goes back to the staff being paid only a few dollars an hour and mainly relying on tips. But you'll experience the good customer service in other fields as well, where people are paid much better.
That's
so
nice.
I would argue that it's much more than just the tipping culture. Another cool thing about the US is that there are so many entrepreneurs and creatives in this country that you can learn from. For example, on Skillshare, which is today's sponsor, so a big shout out to them. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of people come together to take the next step in their creative journey. They have thousands of inspiring video classes on all different kinds of topics, including video creation, photography, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, or even language classes. The classes
I may have to do an English one.
are of really high quality, professionally made and separated into different chapters to give you a good structure, and you can even work along with a hands-on project. Now, as I said, there are so many different kinds of classes on Skillshare, and one that I came across recently that I thought might interest a lot of you is this one. Indoor Gardening, Grow Houseplants, Veggies and Herbs, taught by Edgar Jordi, who runs several social media platforms under the name Garden Up. I feel like in the last few years, having plants has become a huge trend among people of my generation.
So if you are asking why you don't skip that, look, I'm already stealing their content, so I have to watch the sponsor.
But obviously
what is
also
fair
among
is fair
other
for
age
me.
groups. But it's not always as easy to take care of plants as it might seem at first. That's why this class is awesome, because she shares all of her knowledge about how to use the different lighting conditions in your home correctly, which potting mixes are the best for your plants, and
Sounds
also
quite
how
interesting,
to troubleshoot
honestly.
if something has gone wrong, which I think most of us have been in that situation with plants before. She also helps us take the next step from keeping regular houseplants to also growing your own microgreens, herbs, or tomatoes and other veggies. Now, the cool thing about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, which means that there are no ad breaks and they're always launching new premium classes. If you want to join Skillshare as well, I have an amazing offer for you guys, because the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box below
To be honest,
will
is a
get
long
a
guess.
1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. The next point on my list is convenience. I feel like this one is a pretty obvious one, but the US really is the country of consumption and convenience. You need some milk, a new bathing suit, and a new lamp for your living room? Just go to Walmart or Target or any of those stores and you'll find everything in one store. Plus, there's most likely...
This is really good stuff that you guys do in America. If I want... Yeah, I have to go to so many different stores, specific when I'm doing a lot of shopping, because I cannot find everything in one.
Also gonna be a Starbucks in there too. You're in a hurry, but you need to stop by the store for a couple things? No worries, just run
I don't like Starbucks, by the way, but okay.
in, check out at the self-checkout machine, and usually you don't even need to bring your wallet, just pay with your phone. If you realize at midnight on a Sunday that you're out of tomatoes, no worries, just go to the grocery store. Many of them don't close until 1 a.m. or never. And
Ooh, that's so nice. I mean, in my country, in Lisbon, I believe there is 24 hours grocery stores, but in my city, they all close like at 9 p.m., a bit later maybe, but not more.
stores aren't closed on Sundays like they are in Germany. What a dream. Or you can just have the tomatoes delivered, or order takeout from a restaurant with services
Yeah,
like
I can
Uber
see
Eats
why
or
this is
DoorDash
amazing.
or Grubhub, etc.
I would
And of
enjoy
course,
this.
a big part of this whole convenience thing is also the fact that here in the Midwest, you can just drive to places and you'll usually find parking pretty easily, and the parking spots are huge compared to Germany, and so are the streets. Driving here in Ohio is just so relaxing compared to driving and especially parking in Munich. Is it environmentally friendly? Definitely not. Is it convenient though? Unfortunately, yes. Along with the big streets and parking spots also goes the fact that there's just a lot more space in this country than in Germany. Everything is huge here, and I especially enjoy that when it comes to living.
This would be one of my main points if I eventually moved to America, is the fact that, I mean, I believe if you want to build a house in Portugal, man, land is scarce. Land is, it depends on the city, of course, but in good cities, land is really, really scarce. I feel like in America, I mean, I'm aware in California, New York, that's crazy. I get it. But you guys have so many amazing states that I would be probably able to find a nice, piece of land and build a home there. So I like it.
Living spaces. Houses, bedrooms, closets, fridges, all of that is just so much bigger in the US.
That was not my point, but space also applies there, I guess.
And especially here in Ohio, living space is still relatively inexpensive compared to Munich, which is the most expensive city to live in Germany. Here, when people say that they have a tiny bedroom, it's still big for German standards usually. And in Ohio, you can buy a regular house with, let's say, 2 or 3 bedrooms for like $100,000 to $200,000, while even just an apartment with 3 bedrooms in Munich
$100 to $200. That's it. Did I understood that correct?
is usually over $1 million. The fifth thing that I
Wait, and now a good house can be $200 in America. I thought it was at least $500,000, $1 million. Maybe I again, okay, wow.
really wouldn't want to miss about the US is how easy it is to connect with people here. Americans in general are just so open to meeting new people and making new friends. You can combine friend groups
I believe in this
easily
a lot.
if you're having a party or a barbecue. And especially as someone who's new to a country, it's a lot easier to find friends than it would be in Germany, where friend groups tend to be a little more closed off and long-term. Plus, I feel like Americans are great at genuinely being interested in another person's story and finding
This is so true. And look, I never went to America, but I experienced this with this YouTube channel. There is people asking me questions. There is people asking, okay, Andre, where do you live? And I was, this is totally true because I experienced that.
Common ground, even if you're really different people on the surface. Number 6 is pretty simple, but it has become an absolute essential part of my life: kettle corn. It's a mix of sweet and salty popcorn, and it's the absolute best snack in the world. The best store brand for kettle corn is Boom Chica Pop, by the way. They're not sponsoring me, even though they should, so if anyone working for Boom Chica Pop is watching, shoot me an email. But jokes aside, in Germany it's actually standard to eat sweet popcorn at the movie theater. So if you don't specify otherwise, ordering popcorn means ordering sweet popcorn. Not even mixed, just sweet. In the US, popcorn is salty by default and often has a butter sauce on top, so it's more of a salty and buttery snack, and they'll also put things like cheese powder on it, which has...
That's genius. Oh man, that's genius. Oh boy. If I go to America, I have to try that. I love corn, and I love cheese. So there is no way this does not work for me.
Has grown on me, to be honest, but the creme de la creme is still kettle corn. Number 7 is carpet in houses. It's a lot more common.
Okay, I always found this actually kind of cozy, but we don't do it in Europe. But to be honest, there is a lot of maintenance related with carpet floors, right? I think that's a bit problematic, but this seems kind of cozy.
Common in the US to have carpeted floors in the living room, but especially in the bedrooms, than it is in Germany. In Germany, that's a rather outdated thing, and you won't see a lot of...
Exactly. Okay, she is eating the correct point. It's outdated, you know. You look at that like, oh, that's not... Yeah, what the hell is that? Your grandmother like that, not, not in current times.
Lot of houses with carpet anymore these days. You'll mostly find hardwood floors there, parquet usually. And that's because...
Yeah, parquet.
Most Germans prefer hardwood floors, and nowadays a lot of Americans do too, but I love how common carpet is here because I just find it so much more cozy to wake up in the morning and walk on soft, fluffy carpet rather than walking on cold and slippery hardwood floors. One big thing that I'd like for Germany to adopt, so this is my official request, Germany, is the amount of pools that you'll find here in the US. Not just private pools that you'll find in someone's backyard, but neighborhood pools or pools in apartment buildings. That's not a common thing at all in Germany, but here, if you look...
Okay. Is getting more popular in Portugal, pools in apartments, common pools. But it's not a common thing in general, so she's correct also.
In the suburbs or a more residential neighborhood, it's super common that there's a public pool that everyone living in the neighborhood can use. And many...
Oh, wow! That's insane! Oh man, I had no idea about that.
Apartment complexes have a pool too, kind of like a hotel. There are even student apartment buildings with pools here. And needless to say, in the summer, that's just really awesome. You either have a pool in your own neighborhood or you'll go to the one in your friend's neighborhood or building, and they often have public grills too. The next thing that I love here in the US in my daily life is the bar culture. I feel like overall it's a much bigger bar/pub culture here than in Germany, especially compared to Munich, where we don't have a lot of bars where you just go
This I would probably disagree. I think my country have a lot of this.
Go in and get a drink at the bar and then stand around.
Not disagree. What I meant to say is I would probably not miss that, because I also have this here.
Or sit on a bar stool. Most places have table service, and if you want to go party, you'll usually go to a club where you'll have to pay a cover fee and where the party doesn't really start until 1 a.m. or later. Here in the US, I just love how many, let's call them non-binding bars there are where nobody cares whether you order something or not, and you can just get a beer for $3, or at least here in Cincinnati you can, and you can hang out, and many bars...
By the way, $3 is a lot for a beer, but I guess you guys also have bigger salaries.
even have a dance floor too. No cover fee,
Okay.
and since in Ohio and many other American states, the sale of alcohol has to end by 2 a.m., most bars close at 2 or 2:30 a.m. Sounds early, and you might wonder, why would I like that? Well, I like it because it means that people start partying much earlier, and I get to go to sleep at pretty much my normal sleep time because I'm a night owl, and I don't have to ruin the entire next day like in Germany, where you often stay out until 6 a.m. or later because the
I don't like that. You know, I for me the perfect hanging out with friends is dinner, and until midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. At best. I'm old, man.
party doesn't even really start until late at night. Plus, going out here is much cheaper since a lot of the bars simply have a dance floor and you don't need to pay a cover fee, so it's more flexible, better hours in my opinion, and a lot cheaper. Plus, I like the music much better too. I'm not really into EDM, and in my opinion, Germans don't have great taste in music because they don't have a lot of rhythm, so everything is always just boom, 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 like the
yikes.
same beat the whole night. So I personally just like the music here in the US a lot better. Another really important one is Mexican food. With Mexico being right across the border and Mexicans being the biggest immigrant group here, you'll find Mexican restaurants everywhere, which we don't really have in Germany. Now, before you guys comment, oh, but it's not real Mexican food, it's Tex-Mex, it's Americanized. Well, first of all, that tastes really good too, but even in Cincinnati, in the Midwest, there are numerous authentic Mexican restaurants as well. I've never been to Mexico myself, but if Mexicans who live here say that it's authentic, I'll believe.
I mean, Mexican food, I don't have a lot of experience. I mean, I eat it in Taco Bell a couple of times. That counts? Genuine question.
Them. You don't have to travel to certain states to find good Mexican food. It's really all over the country. The next point is something that I've talked about a little more in detail in this video, but I really like the positive mindset in the American culture. This is a generalization, of course, but overall, Americans have an attitude that's much more, let's try it, what could go wrong?
Okay, this one I'm a bit surprised, because even though I can see it, man, on Twitter, I follow certain politics topics in America, and people are so mad against each other that, yeah, but probably that's a bubble, you know. In real life, things are quite different.
Rather than Germans, who are often more like, why would we try that? Something could go wrong. I like to summarize it like this. When Germans would say, why are you doing that? Americans are often more like, why not? Which is something that I personally just really enjoy.
And that's one of the reasons America runs the world. People may like it or not, but it's capitalism in full force, basically.
Because I find it to be a much more supportive environment to be creative personally and live your life how you want to live it and not how other people expect you to live it. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have this YouTube channel if it weren't for that positive and encouraging mindset here. Number 12 on my list is flexibility, by which I mostly mean that compared to Germany, when it comes to moving or your job, things are a lot more spontaneous and you can decide things much more last minute here. Like, well, in Germany, it's common that you have to give a 3-month notice to quit your job or being fired. It's only a 2 weeks notice here, even for salary.
Just 2 weeks? Oh man, that's crazy.
Jobs, which obviously has a lot of downsides too, but I kind of like how it makes life a little bit more flexible. Even more so with
I mean, if you are younger, you'll like it more. Okay.
Housing. If you rent a place, it's usually a 1-year lease in the US. If you want to stay after that year, you can usually re-sign the lease for another year, but it kind of encourages a lot of people to move a lot, which again might be perceived as something negative, but I personally like how it's normal for people to move around a lot and thereby keep their lives interesting and keep their options open as to where and how they're going to live in the future. In Germany, leases are usually unlimited and people move a lot less in general. If you buy a house in Germany, you usually plan on staying there permanently, or at least for a really long time, whereas Americans often just buy houses and then sell them again after a few years to move somewhere new. And last but not least, a thing that
But that could be because the real estate market have been doing so well in the last 20 years, right? Because otherwise that would not be possible.
Could have included in my point on convenience, but I felt like it deserved to have its own point on the list. is drive-thrus. One of the most American
I
and
would
most
enjoy this.
convenient things ever. There are really drive-thrus everywhere here for fast food restaurants, obviously, but also for Starbucks and other coffee shops, pharmacies, banks, so like drive-through ATMs, drive-through vaccines, which is
Drive-through ATMs. That's a crazy, amazing idea. I would love to have that in Portugal.
That's how I got my COVID vaccine, drive-through convenience stores, or even liquor stores, and apparently there are even drive-through wedding chapels. You can definitely call it lazy, but it's also part of that
What?
American convenience that has kind of seduced me in a way. It's just so comfortable to be in your own car, not worrying about what you look like really, waiting in line while sitting down with
Yeah, I mean, that's why I would like it. So many times I went to McDonald's with in pajamas.
your own music, but still getting food and completing other errands. And that wraps up my list of 13 things about the US that I don't want to live without anymore after living here for 5 years. Let me know where you disagree with me or where you agree in the comments below, and also what kinds of follow-up questions you have for me. And of course, stay tuned for my counterpart video of the things that even after 5 years in the US, I still can't get used to. I hope you guys liked this video. Thank you so much for all of your support over the last 3 years that I've had my YouTube channel, and if you want to keep supporting me, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and also activate the little bell, hit the thumbs up button, and you can also support my channel on patreon.com/ or buy me a coffee or a beer on buymeacoffee.com/. Of course, get your own.
I don't know why she actually muted that stuff, but that does not matter. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Another more relaxed type of video. I also enjoyed those. But yeah, if you end up enjoying, do not forget to leave a like, and see you guys next time.